Oh, I think we are live. Excellent. I can see the numbers ticking, so excellent. Great. We are officially live. And by heck, it's cold. Winter is definitely here, and I'm wishing I had my gloves because I can feel my hand holding my phone already starting to be incredibly cold. So uh, definitely gloves are in order going forward for doing this. And I put a fleece on thinking, oh, good morning there to you. Who's that? Jean T. Good morning to you. And who have we got? Robert Jones. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the good morning walk in the lovely heart of Yorkshire. It be grand. Oh, morning from Hamburg. Yep. You join me, of course, as always, in the heart of Yorkshire, Barnsley itself, the best town in Yorkshire. better than Rotherham, and you can go tell Phil of a different bias that I said so. He'll get it. It's a good Yorkshire thing. Inter town rivalry. That's what we like to see in Yorkshire. Where to start this week? Really difficult. I think we're going to start off with America, because you may remember, obviously, last week we had the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I can't say it. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Obviously, one of the liberal Supreme Court judges, and things have progressed very, very fast. Do you read the live chat after the stream? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's like I say, when I'm walking, it's kind of difficult because I've got to try and keep my eyes on the path, and then I've got to try and read the screen at the same time. We'd always do like a little Q&A at the end of the stream. So obviously, if you stick around that, then I'm more than up for going through questions and whatnot. But obviously, back to troubles in America, because I think things in America could get very interesting very quickly over there. So obviously, what's happened is, obviously, Supreme Court member has died, and Trump, as I pretty much said, the Republicans are not going to pass up this opportunity to essentially gain control of the Supreme Court. And Trump's pick is, it's a woman, but she's incredibly pro-gun, anti-abortion. She's basically the American conservative to the hilt, essentially. And of course, if you're even a liberal in America, this could cause huge problems, because we're looking at the Republicans pretty much controlling the Supreme Court for some time to come. And even if let's say Trump does win, but let's say you get like a Bernie Sanders candidate next election, he could come in, and whatever progressive laws he ended up passing, you could basically see the Republican Supreme Court, now controlled by them, of course, essentially just undo everything. And that's the real danger. This is why I said as soon as she died, this has changed everything about this presidential race. Now, of course, Trump is trying his damned hardest at this moment in time, as are the rest of the Republicans, because obviously this is a massive opportunity to gain control of the Supreme Court. They're not going to pass up this opportunity. They're going to go full hog for it. They're going to try and get this pick that Trump's chosen through as fast as possible. Be damned about, you wind back to the clock to the end of Obama, and Obama had a year. The Republicans stalled Obama's pick and any talk of, hearings to select the judge for well over a year, because their argument was, oh, you're a lame duck president. You shouldn't be allowed to pick the next Supreme Court justice. It should be, wait for the next president. But it was a year. As of now, we are, 5 weeks away? That's how insane it's going to get in America. I think you're going to see so much stuff. Oh, hang on, we've got a bit of a long comment there. I've just seen that. Oh, so what's it? Croman, good morning from Finland. So good morning to you from Finland. Oh, like my videos, thank you very much. Yeah, our media barely talks about Brexit. Yeah, because it's not an issue in the EU. It's just not an issue. It's a complete sideshow. Yeah, you are right. It's just a complete sideshow to what's going on in the rest of Europe. Yep, the GOP are hypocrites. Yep, they're American conservatives. And what's even more worrying, is that Trump was asked this week about if he lost, would he help to facilitate the peaceful transfer of power? And his answer was essentially no. We are looking at a probably full-blown, essentially coup by Donald Trump there. And he has been priming his, his followers to essentially, if there is even the slightest recount, because obviously the mail-in ballots are obviously going to trickle in, and we could see potentially, because the Republicans are less scared of the coronavirus, but the Democrats are. So the Democrats are going to be more likely to use mail-in ballots, which Trump is now saying are really dodgy and, illegal, and is going to essentially make moves not to count them. Even the Republican Party has come forward and says whoever wins on November 3rd is president, which is shocking. This is going to be a huge challenge to the American system. And you're going to see huge shifts in this. It's going to be unbelievable what happens. And there's a lot of people out there who have some bizarre and wavering faith in the system. And, it's always good to have, faith in the system. But the problem is, you've seen how the Republicans have acted just over this, the course of this presidency. Do you think they're going to play by the rules? No. The Republicans play for keeps, and unfortunately, the Democrats like to play this, civility politics, and it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them big. It's going to cost them big. Oh, good morning to a couple more people there joining us. And that's generally terrifying. if you're, and I say one of the biggest problems in America is the unwillingness of mostly of the Democrats to really fight for what's going on, and you could see huge detrimental changes to American democracy, and it's just going to go. I think if Trump does win, or if he manages to pull off his coup, you could see huge problems happen in America. Huge problems, because I always say this about, there's been a lot of people saying, oh, they're going to be able to do these recounts really easy. We'll go back to Bush v. Gore, and you want to look up something called the Brooks Brothers riots. And what this essentially was this was a organised riot, organised by a guy who you may or may not have heard of before, a guy called Roger Stone. And he was sitting in a van down the street, and he organised a bunch of Republican lawyers and judges to essentially start a riot at the Brooks Brothers building, I think it was in Florida, to essentially stop a recount. They were demanding that the recount be stopped because at that point it was very obvious that Gore had won the election, and essentially this mock and fake riot got through. And what's even more terrifying is, you may have heard of a guy who recently got appointed to the Supreme Court, Judge Kavanaugh. He was a part of that riot, interestingly enough. I just found that out, actually. And he's a member of the Supreme Court. So do you think, if this goes to the Supreme Court, which way do you think he's going to vote in denying essentially people's votes? Yeah. A lot of people have always said, fascism can't happen in America. It's happening right now, and it's generally quite scary and worrying. And not only in America, it's happening over here as well. Because I think you're going to see over here in the UK, Brexit is going to be an absolute colossal disaster. Colossal. For those of the French in the stream that may be joining us or watching us, congratulations on your acquisition of Kent. A lovely place down in the area. Some very nice scenic vistas, some very good, historical towns. Curious Brew is also down in Kent, down in Ashford. So you've got a very good brewing company joining the French, and I'm sure they'll do great. But I can't believe this, that we now have an internal external border within a border. It's generally quite shocking. Generally is. It's what do you do? I'm sorry for the people of Kent. You've now been, adopted by, going to be adopted by the French, and Kent is going to become a massive lorry park, and there is no way this isn't like a lot of the government, especially Michael Gove, is trying to pass this off that this is only going to be like a oh, it's only going to be a month thing, it'll be fine. Nope. Given of how the government has handled the coronavirus crisis, I don't even think they are prepared for the mess that is about to happen. To down in Kent. I don't think they're even prepared for it. And someone, I'm sure someone just mentioned Hull. Yeah. What about the other ports, Hull and Harwich? Hull. Oh, good morning there to Henk. Good morning. Hull. If you've ever been to Hull, to get to the port of Hull, you have to drive through the city centre. So the city centre of Hull, because if you are a business in Yorkshire and you export to the EU, Hull is your main Hull is your main port. And yes, it's not as busy as Calais or Dover. That route, is the busiest. For obvious reasons, it's the shortest. But Hull, Hull's still pretty busy. And if you get even the slightest delay, the city centre in Hull is going to be absolute. Whoop. Morning. The city centre in Hull is going to be an absolute disaster. Because Hull city centre is not built for a traffic jam, or should we say a lorry jam, because that's what it's going to be, a lorry jam of that size. Not only that, because it's not built. This is a city centre, so you're also going to have to add into that mix and you have to add the civilian traffic into that as well, and that's going to be even worse. So for the people of Hull in and around that area, I do hope you've got to deal with your work from home, because trying to travel into work, or even just trying to even get into the city of Hull, is going to be a complete nightmare. Absolute nightmare for you. This is a continuing situation. Good morning to someone from Denmark there. Good morning, welcome to the stream. Oop. 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 Morning. Oop. Got some dogs there. We encounter lots of dog walkers on the stream. I did forget to show you the little beagle that walked past us just a few moments ago. I do love a good beagle. Really nice dogs. I think if I ever had a beagle, I'd call it Biggles. I could have Biggles the beagle. But I know how much attention beagles require. So there's no chance of me being able to effectively take care of a beagle. I still have a few months to move to the EU, that is true. Like I say, as I've said before, my exit strategy is probably to move to Ireland. That's my exit strategy. Oh yeah, other news. As many of you may or may not know, because of the coronavirus, I lost my job, unfortunately. Not a lot that we could do, the business could really do about it. We ran physical events, and then the other side of the business had to do with we provided extra support to schools in terms of sport relief and organising clubs and organising what's called the big school games. So we were involved with all of that. Of course, coronavirus comes along, thwack, bang goes the business. But I do have a new job, and the good thing is that should I want to move to Ireland, they have a remote working policy in place. They've had a remote working policy in place since October of last year. So the good thing is I could move to Belfast, and I'd still be able to work for the company that I'm working for because of their remote working policy. Nope, squirrel above us there. But yeah, so that's absolutely great news for me. New job, new start, first week in as marketing manager. So a lot of work to do for them. A lot of work to do. So just gonna wait and see. Oh yeah, the other thing, the other big news. Because we're heading for a no deal, Brexit by the look of it, and you can tell I still do hold out hope for a deal, because Johnson is going to have to do some sort of deal, and I think Johnson's going to have to go onto the cave, and it will be hailed as some sort of, oh look, the EU blinked at the last minute type of thing and then did a deal at the last minute. Are you moving to Ireland? I don't know, maybe. We'll have to see. Yeah, someone just said there, Henk, yeah, I think there'll be a deal. There has to be. There is no way that, the disaster it's going to cause for this country economically is going to be huge. I mean, I've said it recently on a couple of videos. Look at the coronavirus has done to other countries in Europe. Yes, most other countries in Europe have taken a hit, like us. However, we have been the most effective country in terms of that financial hit. To a point, we are in a recession. Why has our country been so badly hit compared to other countries? Whole reason for that is Brexit, and I'm just waiting for when we start to see the financial studies and the reports that are probably going to come out next year. They're pretty much just going to confirm this. They said, yeah, the coronavirus did damage, but also we were dealing with Brexit, which has led to massive uncertainty and even more, problems in the country. And that's what caused our country to be hit so bad compared to others. I can almost guarantee you that is going to be the case. And it's not going to be, it's not going to be an easy recovery. It's going to be incredibly hard times for a lot of people in this country. Even more so for the people who voted for Brexit. Because if you look at all their motivations, they were promised, and they all feel, when you look at their their comments and things like that, all their comments and their feelings are that, somehow we are going to be fine. That's not how countries work. We do not work on the on the positivity scale. You know, it doesn't matter how much, quote, you believe in Britain. You aren't getting anywhere near the level of what we need to be for this country. I mean, there's an amazing tracker, ironically, on the I think it's the WTO website, and it tells you, at least I think it's the WTO website, and it shows you all the graphs, and you can list it by country, and you can see where all those countries export and import to and from. And if you look at us on that scale, you can get it up to 2018, I think, is as far as it goes at the moment, because I don't think they have the figures for 2019, although that will be interesting to look at as well. So even as late as 2018, our top 10 countries that we import and export to are all EU countries. The only two that are not are America and China. And we have seen how Trump, especially, we've already seen it. So this isn't a you know, a possibility this might happen. This is almost a certainty that this will happen. Of course, that will be the thing of, we have to pick between China and America, and we shouldn't have to pick between two of them. You know, I thought we were quite a sovereign country, but no. Part of the big song and dance about Brexit to try and get a trade deal with America. And of course, you've seen the comments of Joe Biden, and that the Democrats, even the Republicans, have basically said, if you damage the Good Friday Agreement, which the withdrawal agreement, current internal market bill, shall we say, kerfuffle, that we've been seeing for the past 2 weeks or so now, breaks international law and damages the Good Friday Agreement. And that is going to essentially sink that trade deal. Not only that, but we are seeing already, I remember I did a video about ARM, a microchip processor company that is very, very British in its origin, its making. Is a really good company. It provides over about 2,000 jobs in what is especially a very, very niche area and company. We are now seeing NVIDIA, the American company, is essentially going to come over, buy the company, and then just move all its jobs to America. That's what's going to happen. That's what we can expect. You know, I saw, and I can't remember if the guy was a Brexiteer or not. I'll have to double check, but there was an MP complaining about America doing this, and that it wanted similar rules put in place to defend the jobs and keep those British jobs here, like when what's the American company name called now, when Hershey's, the American candy company, bought Cadbury's. Those rules that were put in place weren't because of the UK. Those were actually EU rules that helped defend Cadbury's when it got took over by the American corporation, to help it defend and keep British jobs in America. And they have been those jobs were overly successful and were kept. That's not going to be the case now. Remember, you had American Trade Secretary Wilbur Ross outright say that it is America's God-given right to take jobs from the UK. That should be incredibly worrying to you all. Yeah, that's it, Kraft, not Hershey's, but I think they're the same makers who make that. Um, those rules that kept Kraft from, just lifting up the jobs, whatever, they were kept because we were in the EU, and they were being kept there because of us. Oh, someone's long comment there, just seen that. Oh, so this was from Erica, I think that's how you say it, or Katrina, I'm not sure. Thank you from Germany for being a voice of reason. You're part of restoring my faith in the British people. Oh, well, thank you about that. Shame about Kent. We're heading for a no deal, I'm afraid. Yeah, it is a shame about Kent. Like I say, to the people of Kent and anyone watching from down there in Kent, learning French might be a very good idea for you. Because there are a lot of rules in France about the primacy of the French language. Of course, officially with that border in place, you'll become French citizens, and of course, you will need to learn the linguo, or the lingua querma, as they say in Discworld. But yeah, that's sort of what's really happened this week. Have I forgotten anything about anything else? Oh yeah, we had Michael. Yeah, that was it. Michael Gove got his absolute ass handed to him in a what I think not a select committee, but a business meeting, where, if you think for the past 4 years, we've had a continuous stream of businesses saying, we know that Brexit's going to happen. How the hell can we prepare for Brexit when we don't even know what the rules are, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? And the whole, scenario. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for us. What do we do? And the British government have always basically said, to a point of, don't worry, we'll tell you. And it's engaged. Oh, we've got, don't know if you can see them. Oh, there we go. Got the ponies. The ponies are back again. So all these British companies that deal with, either exporting to the EU, or their supply chains are really closely linked to the EU, have been saying, what on earth is going to happen? What's going to happen to these? What trade deals are we going to get? What's the situation going to be? And no company is prepared for Brexit, for the pure and simple fact that all these companies have been saying for 4 years and crying out to the government, tell us what's going to happen. We can't prepare unless you tell us what's going to happen. And because our government has been so blasé about Brexit itself, because it doesn't really know what type of Brexit it wants. Even now, we are still having to have that discussion, because we are still have to go. We've got the crazy Leave Tories that have taken control of the Tory party and are now trying to force what is essentially a no deal, which is going to cause absolute disaster. Partly because a lot of them have shorted the pound, which basically means we don't know what that means. That essentially means that they've bet against our country and have betted the fact that it is going to lose. So a lot of Tories and a lot of Tory donors are going to become suspiciously more richer on January the 1st. So there's that. Oh wow, we've got over 100 people watching. So welcome one and all. Before we continue, allow me to do some very shameless shilling. Please do hit that like button. It does help out the stream a lot. We get more people in. We'll get a very good Q&A session coming up in a bit as well. Also, if you would like to subscribe to the channel as well, if you're new, we talk about British politics and especially Brexit, because as I always say at the end of the videos, the two are completely interlinked, and Brexit is going to be talked about for some time to come. You know, January the 1st is just the beginning of this whole Brexit saga. It's not going to end anytime soon. Also, if you would like to support the channel in a different way, there are my links to my Patreon page down below, as well as a one-off donation link should you like to support the channel in that way. Also, Super Chat, I believe, is now up and running, so if you'd like to give some money that way, all your support is greatly appreciated, and you know, keeps me making videos, lets me know what you think and so forth. So thank you for everyone that does support me already. Your support is always much appreciated. So shilling over. So we've got another interesting time in really in the UK, where, so I think I want to talk about the chances of a no deal actually happening, because I don't think these businesses are going to let up, and a lot of the someone just sent in a super chat there. Thank you very much to, I can't see who you sent in there. Yep, Stop Karaoke, thank you very much. We once had Michelle Barnier donate, so I did love that. Whoever did that, that did make me chuckle that day. So anyway, a deal versus no deal. I do think there is going to have to be a deal at some point, but what that deal is going to take, what form it is going to take, I don't know. But as always, this is what leads us back into the EU, because businesses are going to be so, you know, our economy is going to take a massive hit. It really is. And all these businesses and all these Tory donors that are business owners in the UK are essentially going to go, hey, we're being really hit by what you've done. We need to be a closer part of the EU. And all that's going to happen is we're just going to move closer and closer into their orbit until we get to a point of just going, yeah, let's just rejoin the EU. Just what's going to happen. You know, economics in this case will not be denied. You know, the closer ties we have with the EU, the better our country has done. And we are find out straight away how bad being out of the EU is. We have over 40 years of data to show how good our country did. Being a member of the EU, being part of the single market and customs union, it's economics, and it will not be denied. And all those business leaders that are Tory party donors are going to go, if you don't support closer links with the EU, well then we'll support parties who will. And don't think that's not going to spook the Conservative Party. Do not think that is not going to spook the Conservative Party, because you will see donors go to Labour, you will see them go to the Lib Dems, And as soon as that starts to happen, Tory policy on Europe will change as well. And trust me, us going back into Europe is a case of sooner rather than later. So I do think there is going to be a deal, because there's no way that Boris is going to want to take the blame for that. No way. Of course, we're also hearing rumours now that Boris is starting to think about quitting. Not a surprise, considering the fact that even now the right-wing papers have turned against Johnson. So we are possibly on course for what I call my Christmas gift of Boris Johnson leaving office. Like I say, he'll either leave at Christmas or he'll leave soon after Christmas, maybe in like April, May time. Those are like the two predictions I've made. So I think that's when he'll leave, essentially. And of course, I hope everyone in the UK is looking forward to what has now been dubbed Furloughween. I find this obviously we're in a very, very bizarre situation. Like I myself was on furlough because my company just didn't have money to pay me. And of course, as furlough got wound down, they basically still had no money to pay me, so I got made redundant. Nothing I could do about that. But if the furlough scheme, for example, had been running longer, I'd have probably kept my job. You've only got to look at other countries who have implemented a furlough system, and theirs are running for the longest, I think, is like 24 months. Ours was 8. It's well below any of the others. I think the shortest you actually get, and then it's us, is about 8. Not 8. Is about 12 months, where we only had 8. And this ending of the furlough scheme is going to be an absolute disaster because a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs because the coronavirus ain't going anywhere. If you've been keeping up with the news, we are seeing massive spikes all around the country, and it is very likely we are on the verge of a second wave. Of course, as I said last week, you've got all the uni students moving in. Manchester University, 99 students were tested positive for the coronavirus. They have shut down, I can't remember which one, whether it's I can't remember which Manchester University it is, but they've basically shut it down. Or they've told all the students, keep inside, isolate. And we called it last week that this was going to happen when the uni students go back. Oh, what's this? Bakura 23. Pardon me. Have you heard about Trump saying they'll throw away the election ballots, indicating he won't leave even if he loses the election? Yes, Bakura. We talked about that at the beginning. Incredibly worrying. Incredibly worrying. What was it? Lots of people said it can't happen here. Well, you're looking at it happen there. I think in America things are going to get interesting very quickly, very fast. And it just depends how. I mean, we've talked about, you have armed militia groups who have actively, during this period of lockdown, during the virus, have stormed Capitol buildings and whatnot. You've only got to look at things like the Brooks Brothers riots that happened back in the election during 2000s of Bush versus Gore. And the other interesting thing was to stop a count in Florida, organised by Roger Stone. And one of the people who protested there at that time was, you may have heard of him, a guy called Kavanaugh, who is now a member of the Supreme Court. So which way do you think he's going to vote if an issue like this gets brought to the Supreme Court? Because I'll tell you what, all the Republicans are not going to give up power. We're seeing Trump already trying to push through his Supreme Court pick. Yeah, it ain't good. You know, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Things are going to get interesting very quickly, very fast. And the election is only 4-5 weeks away at best. Oh, someone just donated there again. Hold on. Oh, so Flash Mood, thank you very much for supporting the channel. So Eurosceptic Italian politicians no longer talk about leaving the EU after Brexit. The only positive result, yeah. We've said this before. A lot of the anti-Eurosceptics on your side of the pond have been so enraged about Brexit and how Farage mainly Farage has handled it, because it's now shown the absolute disaster of leaving the EU. And bear in mind, we haven't really properly left yet. We only leave officially on the 1st of January properly, and that's like the real start. And as I said before, this is only the beginning of this whole period. So, you know, get ready, because I'm sure we're going to get even more talk about Brexit on this channel. So if you are in Europe and you do want to keep up to date about Brexit, then, you know, do hit that follow button. You know, stay tuned, because the ride of here is only just beginning. So who else we've got donated there then? Where are you? There you are. So Phil Cross, thank you for supporting the channel, it's much appreciated. From one redundee to another, a small token of appreciation for the channel. Thank you very much, it's very much appreciated there. Always remember, it could be worse. We could be American. That is true. that is very true. So, someone else there. I'm genuinely grateful for Brexit. All the Leave campaign and politicians faded almost instantly in Hungary too. Brexit has made them. Brexit has made it feasible for me for me to return to my plan. I think that's what it said up there. There you go. Yeah, Roger Stone is still on the loose. Obviously, he was arrested not too long ago. I think he is out, which makes it very worrying, because he is going to cause some sort of trouble during this election. We don't know yet, but part of me generally thinks what I might do on US election night is I might do a live stream on US election night, because I think things over there could get very interesting very, very quickly. So if people want me to do that, you know, I will do that, because I think it's very important. Nope. Oh, we've got 3 spaniels. Oh. Hello. 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 Oh, I missed him there. Anyway. Hello. I don't know if you can see them there. There they are. So yeah, I just want to go back to the phrase I mentioned there, furloughing. Obviously, not only does the furlough end on October the 31st, but that's also officially the final date of when we can get some sort of deal. So after that point, it pretty much will be a no deal, which is going to cause huge damage to this country almost instantly. And it's going to have a huge knock-on effect to this country. And, not only going to get people being made redundant from their jobs now because of the loss of furlough, but they're also going to lose. Lots of companies are going to go, well, we're no longer members of the EU. That increases our costs. And that means most likely staff layoffs, which is, it's going to be bad. And I've talked about this before, about not wanting to take revenge against the Brexit supporters, because I'm always very clear that there is a huge difference between someone who is a Brexiteer and someone who is a Brexit supporter. And the Brexiteers, we've always said, are people like, Farage, Boris, Michael Gove, people like, Mark Trice, the guy who runs Weatherspoons, Wurzel Gummidge. So they're the Brexiteers. Brexit supporters are just, your regular, average, run-of-the-mill people. And, we've said it before, you could get 10 leavers in a room and not one will, first of all, have any idea about the EU. Like I say, you could give them a quiz of really, really basic EU questions, they wouldn't be able to answer it. They wouldn't be able to answer a single one. But then that's Brexit for you. And it's not because they're idiots or anything like that. In fact, most of the people, if you look at the data, most of the people who voted for Brexit were middle-class Tories. There were a lot of working class people who did vote for Brexit, but there were more middle class people who voted Leave than the working class. So, and it turns out those were the exact same people who voted yes originally to join the European Union. So there's been a massive shift in the Tory party, and especially UKIP. I was on call with the campaign group, what are they called now? March for Change, a couple of days ago. And they're putting feelers out, and they're finding out that a lot of moderate Tory party supporters are feeling that they've been made homeless because the lunatic leavers, and that is not me saying that. That is what a lot of these moderate Tories are calling them. These lunatic leavers are doing to this country. It's absolutely insane, but there you go. Not only that as well, we also had the Tories downvoted amendments to the trade bill again. The amendments were trying to protect the NHS from being privatised, from increased drug prices, to protect NHS workers from losing their jobs from foreign contracts. A lot of people who have basically been saying for a while that that the Tories aren't going to privatise the NHS. Not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. They're going to privatise it straight away. So we're having fun. Obviously now at the moment. I think I've covered everything that's really happened this week. I was trying to think of anything else that's happened. We've covered obviously the possible fascist takeover by Donald Trump and the Republicans to begin with. We've covered our fact that we are ceding Kent to France. We've covered that. I was going to cover, obviously, as I'd been predicting, the autumn budget was going to be an absolute disaster. Apparently, Rishi has cancelled that, and he's going to replace it with something else, a winter plan to try and protect jobs. What it's going to be, we don't know. We generally don't know what it's going to be, but I'm sure we'll end up covering it next week, definitely. Also, because I have a new job, hooray! We are going to definitely be going down to. You're getting 2 videos a week at the moment, so consider yourself lucky. You're probably going to be down to maybe 1 video a week now, maybe 2, depending if I get the chance. But the good morning walks every Saturday are still going to continue. And like I say, thank you to everyone who supports me, not only here today from this live stream, but also to everyone else who supports me through Patreon and has donated through the other link as well. Thank you very much. Your support has been greatly appreciated, especially during the time that had been made redundant. If you do want to, because I am now employed, leave my Patreon page, that's fine. I understand that. That's perfectly fine. But, if other people do want to support me, it's still there. So we are now going to go on to onto our question session. So if you've got questions, please do get them in. If you at me when you do a question, just so that I can see it more clearly. So we are going to obviously do the questions now. So remember, Christian's just done here. He's added me, so I'll be able to see the question more clearly. So get your questions in. I will go through just a question and answer session now before we leave off today. So first question is, when do you expect to come? What do you expect to come next as supermarkets put a limit again on essentials to avoid shortages? Difficult really to say. I think that you've seen real genuine public anger rise because of genuine Tory incompetence. And it's even being said now that calling them incompetent is almost a well, it's an insult to people who are incompetent, because at least being somewhat incompetent means that there is a level of accountability. But clearly that's not what this government is all about. So it's really hard to say what it is. Will we be seeing food shortages? I think it's very likely, given the chaos we're going to have at the border. Like I say, lots of businesses, hauliers, are not ready for Brexit because they have been crying out for years, for the past 4 years, to the government. Please tell us what you're going to do, to the point where the government has been in consultation with haulage companies and logistics companies, and they've had to sign NDAs. So my plea to those companies is break the NDA, tell us what went on in those meetings. We need to know. So this is from Will N. Would you rather fight 10 Rees-Moggs or 5 Borises? You know what? Boris is pretty big. So Boris, to be honest, we've all seen him do the rugby tackle on that child. So I think I could take 10 Rees-Moggs over 5 Borises, definitely. But then I might have to fight 10 nannies as well. So there's that. Another question. What is happening now due to COVID? I think COVID once again is the true wild card in this situation, but I don't think it's one of those things that is. It's obvious that it's still here in the country. We're seeing huge spikes. Obviously, Leeds, one of the cities near me, has been told to go back into a local lockdown. So that is going to have a huge effect, especially on the northern economy. People are going to go back into furlough again, but of course the furlough ends end of October, and it's getting replaced with a different scenario. How well that is going to work versus the furlough, we generally don't know. Again, this is complete crystal ball gazing, but I think we're on the way to a second wave now, and probably a second national lockdown. There's a couple of experts who have said that we are at least 3 or 4 weeks away, possibly from that happening. So, yeah, it's not good because the Tories have once again completely failed to get a handle on this virus, and mostly it's been because we've been hearing because the private contracting companies have failed, whereas the NHS has been getting on and doing its job, especially Public Health England. Of course, that's been replaced by Dido Harding, which is also failing completely. So, what can you say? You put a Tory in charge, and you can just basically expect complete incompetence to happen. Someone else here from Holder Hans. Did you talk about JPM and the 300 billion leaving the EU? Greetings from Germany. Yeah, JP Morgan, obviously one of the biggest banks, in the country, has moved a lot of assets, and that's not surprising because you've also had British expats who live in the EU and have bank accounts. The British banks have now said that we're going to close your account. So a lot of people have been left without bank accounts now in the EU. And I'm sure that's just the first of many things that are going to happen to UK citizens living in the EU. And that's British banks. That's not EU banks. That's British banks doing that because there is no deal. So there is no rules or regulations to govern how that works. So lots of people losing their bank accounts. Pale horse. How important is the USA election result if Biden wins compared to Trump to the UK? Bit difficult really to call. It's very obvious because Biden's pretty much said if you basically, break the Good Friday Agreement, which we are on course to do at the moment, we aren't going to get a trade deal. So we're not going to get a trade deal if Biden wins. If Trump wins, even if he wants to do a deal with us, it's very obvious that the Democrats are going to stop it. Not only that, Democrats, but Republicans as well, because the Republicans have also said that they hope that we won't break the Good Friday Agreement. So even if Trump wants to sign a trade agreement, it has to be passed by both houses in America. So it's very likely that it ain't going to pass. And that means that the cornerstone of Brexit, this apparently, quote, amazing trade deal that's only going to give us like 0.2% or something boost to our GDP, it is going to fail. So once again, you get another epic fail for the Brexiteers there. Where are we? Yes, there we are. Perby Bird, I think that is. If Bojo leaves at Xmas without a deal, what would happen? would the Tories be going? Will the Tories be going about doing hustings while the UK leaves the EU? And if is Parliament and is Parliament dissolved? I don't think there's going to be another election unless backbenchers really rebel. And we are seeing somewhat of a rebellion, but it's whether the Tories think it's a good idea to go for an election again. And given their absolute failing at the moment, even if Boris goes, and let's say he's either replaced by, let's say, either Gove or Rishi, because those at the moment I'd say probably the bookies' favourites to replace Boris if he goes. There's no way they come out of an election well. The Tories campaigned, many Tory MPs campaigned to get a deal, and they failed to get a deal. Very clearly in the north, it's very clearly becoming. As I said before, that in the north, that a lot of those red wall seats are just going to flip back to Labour. I don't think that the Tories are going to risk having an election so soon, unless something really, really drastic happens. And I think even if Boris leaves, I don't see that being as being something drastic for them. I think the Tories would see it more as a chance, as a fresh start, because obviously, if Rishi Sunak gets in, he got a lot of very positive press, especially from the right-wing press, about obviously the furlough scheme. We'll have to see what happens now he's ditched the autumn budget and got this quote winter recovery plan in place. We'll have to actually see what is in that winter recovery plan and how popular it is. Again, we don't know, so we can't say for sure. So again, this is complete crystal ball gazing as to potentially what happens. We'll have to see, but I don't think they're going to go for an election. No way, unless something really, really drastic happens. Tempus Prude, I think that's how you say it, Tempus Prude. So, at what point in the future and in what circumstances do you think the UK could realistically rejoin the EU? Said it before on the live stream. I think it's just going to be a steady slide. It really is. UK businesses and our just general, economics. We rely on having close ties with, your closest trading countries, which are the EU. 8 out of the top 10 countries that we export to and import from are basically the EU. So us having closer ties, it's just going to be a steady slide, basically. As a timeline, I've said sooner rather than later. I think at the end of this decade, at 2030, I think you're going to see a massive movement to really start to really push to rejoining the EU. At the moment, you've got the hardcore leavers in charge of the Tory party. They've upset a lot of people, especially British businesses, and the Tory party often prize themselves on being the party of British businesses, but they seem to be changing to the party of international businesses, and this is going to upset a lot of their supporters, a lot of their donors, and most businesses in the UK, when you break down the numbers, rely on exporting and importing from the EU. So that's going to have a huge knock-on effect. And as what was causing Ed Heath to join the original EU, the beginnings of the EU to begin with, it was because the British middle class and upper class and the business owners were worried that we were falling behind the rest of Europe. And that's basically just going to be history repeating itself. We're going to end up just sliding back in and rejoining the EU, because even should we rejoin the single market in the customs union, at that point, British businesses are going to say, well, we want a say. And then we're just going to end up rejoining the European Union. Economics will not be denied in this case. So, next one. Shadow Falcon. What is the general feeling about British global importance over there? Living in a small country, it's weird seeing another smallish country act like it's a superpower. We talk about this all the time. It's British, what would you call it? British nationalism, British exceptionalism, I suppose is more the correct term. And of course, a lot of this, you see it from the Brexiteers chanting about how we're this secret global trading empire. Of course, this all comes from the fact that a lot of these people were brought up on the fact of the benefits we had of the British Empire, and of course the ending with decolonization of the UK. Even though decolonization happened, we were still reaping all the benefits of it. We still had all that wealth from the empire, but that was slowly draining away, which was what joined us what led us to becoming the sick man of Europe, which led us to rejoining the European Union. And then we saw our economic power basically rebuilt because we had stronger ties with the European Union, and we are about to lose that again. So we are about to become the sick man of Europe. Our economy, of course, we're the sixth largest economy in the world. That's not going to last too much longer, because you've got countries like India and so forth that, even though the coronavirus crisis has happened over there and they're taking a hit, their economies are still growing. So you are going to see a lot more other countries just overtake us. And like I say, we are the only country at the moment in the world that's in a recession, to my knowledge. So it's bizarre, but this is something that the British public is just going to have to accept, that we are a small country. And the reason why we have been punching so well above our weight was because of our soft power that we had. And our soft power has been all but tarnished and ruined because of Brexit, especially because of the withdrawal bill. But, we are a small country, and we are about to find out just how small we are. So, next question. Let me have a look. Oh, there, so we are from Stop Karaoke. Do you think Bojo cares about his legacy as PM, or is he more worried about delivering a hard Brexit? Hard question. He's going to go down. You saw. We were. Go back 2 years ago, and we were saying just how awful a Prime Minister Theresa May was. She doesn't have to worry about being the worst British Prime Minister in history now. Bojo clearly takes the cake in all those regards. And the fact that, he could just essentially leave and do the whole mission accomplished thing, job done, I think he will regard that as his legacy as the Prime Minister that, quote, finally got Brexit done. But at what cost? And at what cost to the UK and the British economy? And he ain't going to be looked on a very positive light in history, I can tell you that now. Definitely. He's not going to be looked upon positively at all. Let's see if we've got any more questions coming in. Oh, Paz Newsy there. I get small comfort from living in Scotland. Bad news for you there. Even if Scotland does vote to become independent, you have a long road ahead of you to actually joining the European Union. Not only that, but you get a hard border between England and Scotland, and that's going to cause problems as well. And like I say, good luck to Scotland. If it votes for independence, you know, good on you. If it stays, well, all I can say is you shouldn't be voting SNP at national election. You should be voting Labour. It's quite simply that. At a national level, they don't have any power. At a local level, more in Scotland, they do. And quite frankly, 13 extra Labour MPs would be better. Oh, we've got some dogs joining us there. Oh, don't know if you can see them there. There we go. Running through. But yeah. There we go. More questions. Let's have a look. Do you think we'll ever get a job again, Wall Hat Man? Yes, I've just got a job. I've just gone through my first week working with the company. I am their marketing manager, so a lot of work to do for them. Definitely a lot of work, but you know I'm enjoying it. It's what I like to do. So, but it'll be fun, definitely, for what they do. And they work in the financial industry with mortgages and stuff like that. We provide a bit of software for mortgage brokers to use. So yeah, it's going to be definitely a lot of fun working with them. But like I say, I will continue with my YouTube channel, but I think you'll see the output drop because I normally do 2 a day. Videos we might go down to 1 a day, depending on stuff. It just depends how much time I've got, really. Yeah, Scottish Labour. Yeah, that is very true. But their big problem is that they've got to compete with the SNP, who are, well, pretty much left anyway, and they've got nothing to really distinguish them. And of course, their leader, I couldn't even tell you who the leader of the Scottish Labour is. So I'd be very surprised if you can actually tell me without googling it. He's apparently doing a very good Invisible Man act up there. So yeah. I understand the joke that is the Scottish Labour at that point, but you know, 13 Scottish Labour MPs sitting in the Houses of Parliament would be far more effective than 13 SNP MPs. I'll tell you that now. It would certainly help a lot more in carrying the fight to Boris and the Conservatives. I'll tell you that now. Pale horse. Do you think YouTube might start clamping down all this free speech? No. No. It's just a complete misnomer. People who most complain on YouTube about free speech are the ones who break YouTube's very own terms of service. And like I say, YouTube is a privately owned platform. They get to make the rules. And like I say, you don't really lose your freedom of speech just because you get taken off YouTube. You know, that's not what losing freedom of speech is. You know, go move to North Korea and try speaking out against, you know, Kim Jong-un and see how quickly and what really losing your freedom of speech is really like. Or go to China and start speaking out against the government and see how quickly you lose your freedom of speech then. You know. Oh, someone else here. Are Brexiteers in the UK still talking about a union between New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and the UK? Because in New Zealand, we've heard about that kind of language, kind of laugh at that suggestion. Yeah, it's called what we refer to it over here, or the Brexiteers refer to it, and us, shall we say, as Empire 2.0. I very don't think it's gonna happen. This whole Japan trade deal, which is just a complete, you know, the Japan trade deal that we've signed has harder state aid rules than what the EU are proposing to us now, which what we are objecting to, which makes the UK look completely foolish in these negotiations. But this is a point to joining the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Do you really think that we're going to get access to the Trans-Pacific Partnership when we're a country that's not even in the Pacific? No. Basically, we're not going to get anything from it. It's going to be a complete waste of time. And not only that, but the Trans-Pacific Partnership is modelled on the EU. There is going to be, they've already said that there's going to be a court that's going to rule and disputes between members and enforce regulations. The exact thing that Brexiteers spent, quote, 40 years complaining about. Some of them are now saying that we're going to join this, and it's going to have the exact same mechanisms of the stuff that they're complaining about at the moment. So it is completely laughable, to be honest, but there you go. It's also known as the Anglosphere as well, so another term for you if you don't know about it, but yeah. How does Labour support breaking up the union and survive a political party in a union-obsessed English electorate? Well, that's an interesting question. That Labour would survive, definitely, but I think at the point of any breakup of the union, at that point there would have to be serious reconsideration about how our political system is actually structured. And I've already said on this channel, I am supporting any moves at the moment. There were moves at the Labour conference. There were 2, I believe, fringe events that were apparently very well attended about getting Labour to support changing our first past the post system to a proportional representation system. And that is something that we should support going forward. So I am very much in favour of that happening. And I think should the union dissolve, which it looks like that is definitely on the cards, we have to support that. We have to support changing our political system from a first past the post system to proportional representation. It has to be done. No if, and, or buts. But I am definitely supporting campaigns to get that done initially anyway. And I will be sharing such campaigns on this channel. So if you do see them and you do live in the UK, I will probably share petitions and whatnot through the YouTube messaging system and the post system that we've got. So if you do see those petitions, do sign them and then do share them yourself on Facebook and your social media feeds. The leader of Scottish Labour is, you have internet connectivity problems, try again later. Yeah. that is very true. Pale Horse going now, but you're going to start a Discord server? Probably not. Probably not. Like I say, I'm not. I never set out to be a have a job as a YouTuber. But I will still continue doing this. I do have a Patreon page. I know a lot of people said, but why do you have a Patreon page? Because people want to give money to me, and I just find that really bizarre. But thank you for your support. It does. I am blown away, to be honest, by. I've got 15 people on my Patreon, but thank you so much to the people that do support me. It is absolutely incredible, and thank you so much to you. I'm just generally blown away by the fact that I do have people supporting me. Thank you so much. You are funding my Warhammer hobby. And at some point, I will do a stream where I show you all my my Warhammer collection and my pile of shame. I've already got a project of a Cadron Overlord ironclad that I've got to build, so I might start that this weekend. Maybe I'll post some pictures later of it. Evil Empire 2.0. You forgot the evil. That is true, dude. That is true. And I've just got the reference. That is Disgaea, I believe. I've got to play those games. My friend was really into the Disgaea games back in the day. They are on Steam, so I might see if there's one cheap and pick one up. Yeah, hard to keep a supply chain 5,000 miles away. That is true. Gen T, watch Alan Green on an FT video talking about the UK being governed by decree. That is true. That is why we need to move to a and really think about changing our political system to a proportional representation. You've been trying to revive the Zeppelin as an alternative to lorries. That would also prove a challenge because you'd have to change the infrastructure of the UK to provide Zeppelin landings. But yeah, good idea. You've certainly shown more initiative than Michael Gove and the entire UK government. I'll tell you that now. Have we got any more? Here we are. Do you think the Lib Dems are dead political as a force? Will they ever be reasonably popular again? Ooh, hard. Yes and no, because I've said it very clearly. The Lib Dems have what I like to call as a messaging problem. They are very, very ineffective about getting their message across. However, as we've said earlier, moderate Tory voters and moderate Tory party members are worried consistently about the lunatic leavers, and they feel politically homeless. And the party that most resonates with these very moderate Tory voters, because it's the party that is fighting for those votes more so than the Labour Party, is the Lib Dems. So it all depends. We'll definitely have to see local elections, how well they do. Are they gone as a political force? Not really. You'd probably have to go, I think, 3 or 4 big national elections and then basically win no seats to be seen as them gone as a political force. Yes, I think they only have very few MPs at the moment. I can't remember off the top of my head how many MPs they've got, but they haven't got a lot. So they aren't a political force, as you say, in the moment in Parliament, but they're still there. And they still do have quite a large supporter base, even though, again, they don't have a lot of MPs. But that's the problem with our first-past-the-post system. If you implemented a first-past-the-post system, I think it would be something like Labour, Lib Dems and Greens who would have the biggest representative bodies in the Parliament, from what I remember, from what I'm seeing. So definitely interesting going forward. And like I say, if we do switch and do start seriously campaigning for a change to our political system, which I definitely think you could see, because I think the anger that you're going to see from a lot of people who voted to leave and who were promised their lives to be better, we can capitalize on that and say, yeah, they failed you. And not only that, but the first past the post system that got these guys elected is what's really the problem and failing you. We can capitalize on that anger, and we can definitely, I'd say, very easily sweep away first past the post and get in a proper proportional representative system. Oh God, not 40k buckets of dice. Well, I am an orc player, so um, it's very very um, you know, I'm very used to buckets of dice being an orc player. What is it on your speaker, or is it the luggage? Currently on my speaker, I've got three Sky Wardens from Age of Sigmar. I've also got some what are they called? Thunderers, Grimstock Thunderers on there. I've also got Abaddon sitting on there at the moment as my speaker. It's sort of my resting shelf at the moment. But I've almost got a Cadron Overlord's army that needs to be painted. And like I say, and I've just recently ordered more stuff to add to that army recently. So it's piling up fast, and it needs to be built and painted. So yeah. Like everyone else who plays, war games, I've got projects and I've got projects, shall we say. By the way, who do I write about the Kent lorry parks not being flood-proof? Yeah, that is a very good point, actually. If we do get floods this year, you could see those lorry parks being delayed even more. Just goes to show you the lack of planning, the lack of foresight to the Tory planning boards. First past the post isn't an issue in itself. The other parties need to learn to work together. That is true. The parties do really need to learn to work together. And even under a first past the post system, our current system does discourage parties from working together. You saw that only 2 years ago during the series of indicative votes. We could have very easily gotten a vote through to remain in the single market customs union. But because, the parties all wanted power, again, because of how our system works, they didn't work together, so there's no incentive for them to work together. But in a first past the post system, there is incentive for them to work together to get stuff through and across and voted through. So I do think that is a definite possibility. And one of the things that we can do, definitely work towards, is getting the House of Lords turned into a proportional representative system, because that could also be a massive change to our politics as well. It depends on Scotland's membership status of what they want, because you are right. Greenland does fit into the I believe it's the customs union, but they're not in the single market. I can't remember how it works now off the top of my head. It depends on what level of access and what they actually want to be. But the SNP have very clearly stated that they want to rejoin the European Union. And that means that there is a process for that to happen. And as we have very clearly seen, the EU will not fast track countries going in. There are countries currently waiting to become members of the European Union that have been sat in the queue for over 10 years, but they either fail to meet all 10 of the criteria, or other things that just stop them from joining. So, as I say, if and when Scotland does go independent, I wish them all the best of luck. But and this is what I say about Scottish nationalists. If you replace the word Scottish independence or Scottish nationalism, whatever, with Brexit, and replaced a speech by Nicola Sturgeon with one by Nigel Farage and just switched out those words, they sound very familiar. And I always say my problem with a lot of Scottish nationalists is be honest about the truth and what you're selling as the future, because a lot of Scottish nationalists continue to cry about, oh look, we have oil, we're going to be fine. Not true in the slightest. The northern oil fields, a lot of the companies have basically just stopped drilling because they can't. It's just uneconomical to reach the oil that's left down there in the North Sea now. The Norwegian oil industry is 2 times smaller than the one in Scotland, and yet it made twice the money. So, yeah, you have oil, but for how long? So, and good luck to you, but be honest. Otherwise, beware the seeds of anger that you sow. And I say exactly that to the Brexiteers who talk exactly the same about, the UK leaving the EU. Gorkamorka, yeah, I remember Gorkamorka. Discuss free speech and your stream goes down. Not really true. Most of the people who are, quote, losing their, quote, free speech are because they're breaking YouTube's TOS. It's that simple. Scotland linked to union with Denmark. That could be true. Like I say, the only part, if you broke up the union into like Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and England, the only part that would actually immediately rejoin the European Union would be Northern Ireland, because they would join with Ireland. That would be the only part that would immediately rejoin the European Union. Pat from Paz again. Don't worry, Scotland will have never left the EU. We were dragged out against our democratic will, and then our whiskey funded Zeppelin fleet will send food drops. Yeah, but it's just rejoining, and there is a process to rejoining, and a lot of Scottish nationalists don't actually talk about what that process is and how they're actually going to have to go through it, and how it is quite a long-term process, and that Scotland will have to fulfill all the points, all the 10 points for joining the EU. And if you even fail on one, then it's back to the end of the line. So there is no such thing as like a fast-tracked EU membership. So, like I say, a lot of Scottish nationalists do not talk about that fact and reality, and it's something that I said during the Brexit referendum. The Brexiteers aren't really being honest. Even now, they aren't really being honest about the future of the UK, and I feel as if it's the same for the SNP and Scottish nationalists when I see them talk. And all I can say is, if you want independence, vote for it. There's no skin in the game for me, but if you want it, go for it. I'm not against the second referendum at all. Greetings from the land of smiles. So we're coming to the end of our good morning walk. Got another couple of minutes. We'll finally move on from the tree. I feel like I've been standing there for quite a while now. I need to get some gloves though, because my hand that's holding this camera is absolutely freezing. Absolutely, it's frozen solid. Ooh. Shove it in my pocket, get some warmth. Back into it. Ooh, hold on. Nope. Oh. The dogs are back. Whippets, I think they are. Some sort of whippets. At least I think they are. Greyhounds, maybe. I don't know. Something like that. But yeah, we've got obviously interesting times this week again. I do think. I don't know if it's this week, but I think the internal market bill might be back being discussed again. So we could see some more amendments to that bill. What they'll be, we don't know. But of course, the amendment added to try and put down the Tory rebellion doesn't questionable to how well it's worked, but we'll see. Yeah, I need a third arm. That's true. I have thought about getting a Steadicam where I can just hold the Steadicam and then the camera will be held like that. So there we go. Yeah, we'll have to see. But yes, like I say, I think we'll wrap up there. I think for today we've been going an hour and 42 minutes. That's quite good, almost 2 hours there. So as always, thank you to everyone who's been watching. If you are new, do hit that subscribe button. We talk about British politics on here a lot, and Brexit politics, obviously. I'm going to have to be quick because my battery's running low. So we've done some, British politics, American politics when it's important, especially with the election coming up and the absolute chaos that Trump is potentially going to cause, because you could see, a complete fascist takeover of America, courtesy of the Republican Party. But yes, thank you for everyone joining me. Do remember that there are links down below to my Patreon page and all those donation links should you like to support the channel in that way. And as always, have an absolutely fantastic weekend. We've got good weather, but unfortunately it's quite cold. So officially, British summer has ended. I hope you got. I think it was Tuesday when we had really good weather. So I hope you managed to enjoy that good weather, because we're not having any more probably until maybe April, maybe even June, July of next year. So so we're going to have some definitely be wintering up, shall we say, winter gear, winter clothing, definitely on next, because I'm definitely going to have to get some gloves. Just tell you what, my hand holding this holding my phone is absolutely freezing. But yes, as always, as we always say before we end the stream, have an absolute fantastic weekend, and remember, if you can't be safe, be sensible. So have fun and enjoy your weekend, folks, and we'll see you next Saturday morning for another good morning walk. And of course I will have videos as normal coming out this week as well. So we'll see you all then.